What's up, everybody? I'm your host, David. You're back with Let's Talk Boxing, and let's get right into it. So if you haven't heard, in the boxing universe, there's some speculatory information going about, and that is Ryan Garcia will be taking on Errol Spence August 10th at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Technically Dallas, Texas. Let's see. I don't know. There's a lot of factors that play into this, and that's going to be Ryan Garcia's PED test and where does that land him with the commission? What does that punishment look like? And then, you know what? Let me stop talking and let Ryan do the talking for himself because he's the one that blurted out this information. That's where we're getting it from. We're getting it from Ryan himself. So let's go ahead and check this out.
August 10th?
August 10th.
Cowboy Stadium, AT&T, is it called AT&T?
AT&T.
AT&T Stadium. And live, bro, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna go nuts.
Going up.
No cap, this fight is happening, guys. Go share it, do whatever you want to do, bro. It's Ryan Garcia versus Spence. I'm not trolling. I just wanted to come on here to tell y'all I'm really not trolling on this one. I know you guys think 99% of the shit I do is low-key trolling, but this 1%, that's kind of funny. This 1% is true. Like, I'm gonna knock him out. It's gonna be bad, bro. No, 154. I'm not draining his ass. I'm smoking on that Spence pack. What's up, Grace? Hold on. It's gonna be bad, bro. No, 154. I'm not draining his ass. I'm smoking on that Spence pack. What's up, Grace? Hold on.
So you see, Ryan said it himself. August 10th. That's what the date's looking like. And now, if we go back to the Twitterverse, right, the Xverse or the Instagram, the Metaverse, whatever you want to call it, you can see that there's been some speculation for the last couple of days of this actually being a thing. Let's go ahead and jump to Ryan Garcia's Instagram where you posted this. He says, "It's on, Errol Spence. Official offer has been sent. You got 72 hours to respond." That's it. That was posted 5 days ago. And then we go back and look, and he said August 10th, so we can go look at the AT&T box office ticket sales, and we see August 10th is an actual viable date. There's nothing scheduled right there, so we have that date open. Last but not least, we can go and just check the Twitterverse, right? So that was Errol Spence's original quote, that he doesn't take tune-ups, right? That he would beat his ass, but he does not take tune-ups. And then it goes back and forth for a couple days. We end up with Errol Spence commenting on his own tweet. Now, I don't know what this means. I don't know where this takes us from here, but he comments, I believe, the same day that this gets posted, where Ryan Garcia said official offers has been sent. So that was today's the 13th. That was 5 days ago, so that makes it the 8th. And yeah, he commented on the 10th. So right around that time where he should have that 72-hour wait period up. So if you're looking, like I said, you're doing some little journalism, you're doing some investigation, it's looking like stuff is somewhat adding up. He comments back on the day that he was supposed to make a decision from Ryan's official offer. And who knows? What does Ryan at 154 versus an Errol Spence at 154 look like? Because Errol Spence's last fight was at 147 with Terrence Crawford, right? Last fight was at 147. Yep, 147. So, Errol Spence, was he weight drained for that fight? Did it look like he was weight drained for that fight? I wouldn't really say yes. I know Errol Spence was at that weight class ever since he was, 15, 16. So, possibly it was ready for him to move up, right? But who knows? There was several things that looked wrong about Errol Spence that day. So what does Errol Spence at 154 look like? What does Errol Spence after a Terrence Crawford beating look like? Who knows? But let's go ahead and jump back to the last leading factor to see if this is actually a viable option. Is this something that could be true? We need to check the dates for Ryan Garcia and what it looks like. As of right now, there has not been no official penalty for Ryan Garcia. We still got about another week until we get the second test sample. opened up and tested. But as of right now, so the fight took place on 420. Ryan Garcia said that the fight is scheduled for August 10th, which is right here. Typically, most punishments for a positive PED test comes out about 6 months to a year. Whether it's a year probation like Alicia Baumgartner got, or 6 months the way Big Baby Miller got, or the way Canelo got when he tested positive for contaminated meat, apparently. And we had, even if they proved themselves right, Alicia Baumgartner proved herself that she didn't intentionally take any PEDs, and she got a year probationary ban. Let's go ahead and count the months from that day when he tested positive. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that falls around the 4-month part. Theoretically, if Ryan Garcia does get banned, I think we won't be looking at a Ryan Garcia fight until October, November. So I don't know how true this falls, and I don't understand if they're jumping the gun a little too early to even be calling a fight like this. But we need to wait and see where the Ryan Garcia's failed PED test puts us before we jump to any conclusions. Now, like I said, I'm thinking that's more like October, November. I don't see him getting banned for a year. Even Victor Conte, there's a period of time where he had one of his fighters pop for a positive PED test. And he even called it that it was contamination on supplements because it was in the parts per billion. And it's the same thing we're dealing with Ryan Garcia. So a 6-month ban looks more likely to me than anything else. Just based off history on how other fighters have been treated, based off Victor Conte's own statements when one of his fighters that he sponsored popped for PEDs. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But just in case, right? Just in case. Let's say Ryan Garcia versus Errol Spence does take place. Who do y'all have? What does an Errol Spence after a Crawford beating look like? What does a Ryan Garcia at 154 look like? Because there's no way in hell that you're going to put on an extra, he went from 135 to 143. Now he's going up to another 15 pounds. Like, dude, another 10, 12 pounds, right? There's no way you're going to keep the speed. The punching power may translate if you know how to use the weight, which Ryan Garcia typically does. He's been boxing basically his whole life, so the weight may transition, right? But the speed's not transitioning. The speed's going to get slower. He's going to get slower. We've seen that in the last fight when he fought Devin Haney. To me, he looked a little slower than he looked when he fought even Luke Campbell or a little bit, I would say Tank. Like that left hook just came a little bit faster. So we're looking at a slower, heavier Ryan, right? And are we looking at a more physical Errol Spence? Are we looking at a stronger, healthier Errol Spence? What does that fight look like? I personally give the edge to Errol Spence. But then again, I question, how does Errol Spence come back from a beating the way he took off of Crawford? Is Errol Spence another Adrian Broner? Literally another Adrian Broner, where Adrian Broner takes a beating and cannot bounce back because he's scared to let go of his hands to get beat the way he got beat last time. Is the dog out of Errol Spence? I don't know. If Errol Spence gets beaten by Ryan Garcia at 154, then I would say Errol Spence is done, right? But if Ryan Garcia gets beat up by Errol Spence at 154, what does that say to Ryan? I don't know, and the only reason I don't know is because Errol Spence has unanswered questions. We don't know. Errol Spence hasn't fought since... When's the last time Errol's fought? Errol Spence hasn't fought, since a little bit over a year or going on a year? Yeah, going on a year. We haven't seen him really in the gym. We haven't seen him act. We haven't seen anything from Errol Spence. Errol Spence was supposed to have a mandatory rematch with Crawford, yet he pulled out of that. That I don't understand what happened with that. I guarantee Crawford was ready to go back to business. I guarantee Crawford never stopped training because there's been videos and pictures of Crawford in the gym the entire time calling for when the rematch was going to take place and everything else, but it was radio silence from Errol Spence. So does Errol Spence got that dog in him still? Is Errol Spence still a fighter? Or did that beating Crawford gave him take it all out of him? I personally don't know. I don't know. There's too many unanswered questions. We have no idea as of right now. Nobody knows. We haven't seen Errol Spence in almost a whole year. We don't know what he's training like. We don't know what he looks like. We don't know. He doesn't have Derek James no more. So it's like there's been too many changing factors in Errol Spence's life to understand, is this the real Errol Spence? Are we still dealing with the bone crusher Errol Spence who is snatching and breaking everybody's bones, breaking their eye sockets, breaking their ribs? Is that the Errol Spence today? I don't think so. So I give the slight edge to Ryan. I'll give the slight edge to Ryan. I don't want to pick Ryan, but I got Ryan only because there's too many unanswered questions with Errol Spence. But then again, Ryan's going up an extra 12 pounds. I think Ryan going up that extra 12 pounds is a little in over his head on that, right? Right? Is that extra 12 pounds, buddy? So that's not that. You see, you gotta understand. Most of the time, when these fighters are cutting weight, right? They cut weight and then they go eat and they put on extra weight after they get done eating, right? So they get down all the way to 140, 143, the way he did, and rehydrate to 160. So if he goes up to 154, right, and he rehydrates after all that, because he has to work out. You can't just go in there fat. You got to be working out. So after you weigh in, after you go eat, what does that do to your body? How much weight does that make you put on? So you're not fighting at 154. You're fighting at 180 or 190, right? So what does that do to Ryan Garcia, who's never fought at that weight? I have no idea. I guarantee you Errol Spence has fought closer to that weight than Ryan has. I don't know who to pick on this one. I don't know whether to believe Ryan and I say this fight is happening. I don't know whether to say this fight's not happening because we have a radio silent Errol Spence who's not saying anything. And then we don't know what Errol Spence we're going to get that day. This is going to be a hard one for me to call. It's going to be a hard one for me to even talk about until we see Errol Spence in the gym training. And who is this? Who's going to be his new coach? That's the biggest question. Who's going to be Errol Spence's new coach going into a new fight? He doesn't have Derek James. Derek James knows a lot about Errol Spence and can teach Ryan Garcia how to beat him, right? So where's that put Errol? I don't know. This is going to be one of them hard fights to call. This is my 2 cents. I'm throwing everything I feel and everything I'm seeing out there. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all tell me where y'all are coming from. Y'all tell me where y'all coming from. Where y'all think this fight may land. Do you think the fight's even going to happen? If you do think the fight's going to happen, who do you have winning? If you had to put your last $1,000 on the line, right? Who are you placing that $1,000 on? Do you got Ryan? Do you got Spence? And how do you have them winning? Because we don't know what type of Earl we're going to get that day. And we don't know what Ryan looks at 154 either. Anyway, so let me know what you have, who you have winning, if this fight even takes place. Let me know if you even believe this fight is actually happening. Do you believe Ryan? What do you think is going to happen to Ryan with that the PED test? Do you think he's getting banned? Do you feel like he should get a lifetime ban? Because I heard that, and that shit's ridiculous. Like, what do you think is going to happen? 4 months, 6 months, 8 months? And then Ryan at 154? Spence on the first fight as a comeback versus Ryan? What does that look like? I don't know. Y'all tell me. Put it down in the comments. Get at me at the next video. I'm your host, David. You're back with Let's Talk Boxing, and I'm out.